Welcome to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. I'm your host, Morgan Kline, co-founder and CEO, along with my husband and company visionary, Devan Kline.
And together, with our amazing team, we're going to help you push past your limits, not just physically in our gyms, but right here, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually on the Burn Bootcamp podcast.
Together, we will take on challenges and break through barriers to transform into the best possible version of ourselves. We are more than a gym. We are a community. Your community. Let's go, Burn Nation.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. I am your co-host, Devan Kline. Today, I'm here solo. Morgan Kline is not here today. She's usually on the HQ Crew episodes with us, but we anchored down the podcast for you, Burn Nation. And today we got a very special episode because I have a good buddy, a Burn bro, a current member at our flagship gym here in Lake Norman. He didn't start there. He started off down in South Charlotte in the Matthews location with my brother from another mother, Josh Rudolph. And this is David Duncan, everybody. David, welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you, Dev.
We're going to do a focus meeting today. For those of you listening for the first time, we got a few different styles on the podcast, 3 episodes every week. One is an HQ Crew episode. One is a focus meeting where we sit down with a Burn member who is really trying their very best to take their life to the next level through health, through fitness, and to realize the best version of themselves. And then we also do interviews, and I bring experts in, deconstruct their mindset in order to help you, Burn Nation. So these are the mental reps outside of the physical reps that we do in the gym. And David, we first want to appreciate your vulnerability, your time, and your effort being here today. I know this focus meeting, we're going to talk about you, but it's also going to help thousands of people that are listening to this right now out there in Burn Nation go through, work through their own journeys as well. And so, David, what I wanted you to do is just start. I'm going to tee you up, and then you can kind of tell me a little bit about your background, because I think your story is so incredible, has a ton of adversity in it. David had broken both of his legs and gained a ton of weight after he had done that. And he learned about Burn Bootcamp online. Josh Rudolph obviously was a part of your story, lost 50 pounds, got much stronger, pushing 55s now, not 15s anymore on those chest presses. And, just really rededicated himself to fitness after maybe not growing up necessarily in a fitness-oriented environment, being from Taylorsville here in North Carolina. So why don't you pick it up from there, give us a little bit of background on yourself, and then maybe what you're looking to get out of today.
All right. Thank you, Devin. Like you said, just kind of got started off, in a small town, really didn't have a background for exercise or really eating healthy. And really, honestly, it was like a pretty sick kid and really small. Like I weighed 55 pounds in the 10th grade. And when I graduated high school, I weighed like 130. And joined the Army right after that. And was in the Army for 3 years.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. And, I guess when I got out of the Army, I was probably like 170, 175 or something. So I was in good shape. I think, the Army pushed a lot of the physical exercise on me, and I didn't really learn to kind of enjoy it. But, I think a lot of that is just that mindset from like the way I grew up. I really, I guess, didn't want to do it at the time.
Your parents didn't necessarily practice those habits growing up, so you weren't really seeing it all the time.
Right.
What was that environment growing up like in small town USA with parents that didn't necessarily value health and fitness?
I think for the town I lived in, it was pretty normal. It wasn't where you go down the road and you see people running up and down the street like like you do now.
Mm-hmm.
You just, if you saw somebody running, you thought somebody was after them. But so I guess it was normal for me. But later, as I began to gain weight and more fat than muscle, I began to kind of have those concerns. And then also the doctor visits, they were saying, you need to exercise, your blood pressure's up, your cholesterol's up. And, I'd gained a considerable bit of weight. So now I'm starting to think, I've got to go back and do this again. It's going to be hard, But I guess, you start this process of thinking about it, and then you're talking to your buddies or you're talking to your family. oh, you can't do that, or, you know, or, oh, you're going to do that.
Yeah, that environment really starts to rub off on you. You become
Yeah.
part, in part, you're shaped, it's called epigenetics. You're partly shaped by your environment
Right.
that you surround yourself in. So, you know, when we were talking, you came to Discovery Day to learn more about Burn Boot Camp and the business side of franchising. And we got into a conversation where you told me about your had breaking both legs. Can you walk us through that story and the mindset you had coming back out of that, when that seems to be the catalyst for you to be like, okay, I'm not going to let this tragedy here keep me down. I'm going to fight against this thing.
Yeah, I had played some rugby in the Army just recreationally, and so I don't really know exactly what got me thinking about it again, but I saw it, I guess. I don't know if I watched a game or what, but I was like, oh, I'd really like to play rugby again.
Post-Army?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably 20 years later.
Okay.
You know? So I'm like, got some age on me too, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know 100% if I can do this, but I'm going to try, you know. So I got in there, and I remember doing the warm-up like we do in the gym is similar to the one we did at rugby, and we got the warm-up done, you know, and he let us take a break. I thought, man, that was hard. I really got through that. And I told somebody that, and they said, that's just the warm-up. You know, that ain't even practice, you know. So I was like, oh, no. So I remember it was really hot and everything, and I was hanging over the fence and, you know, just really. And I thought, I don't know really why, but I was like, I'm not going to let this beat me because I really want to try to play rugby, you know. So long story short, I played in a game, and I was tackled, but I was like, I didn't go down. I was just kind of like dragging some guys. Well, then a bunch of other guys tackled me too from like different directions. So I'd broke my left leg down kind of close to my ankle, the tibia. And then I also broke, it was also called the tibia, but it's right behind the back of my right leg, behind my knee.
And so that your mindset during that time, was this the catalyst to where you started to gain weight as you had broken your legs? You hadn't really, obviously you're immobile, which is a challenge, obviously, just in itself to be immobile, but then you're stacking the challenge on of coming from an environment in which you didn't have these health and fitness habits necessarily ingrained into you as part of who you were. You would go in and out of it, right? Like the awareness of, I probably need to move my body. I'm starting to see this, you know, and you start to play rugby, so you're an active guy, but it's not this intrinsic thing for you. It's not part of your identity yet, is it?
That's true.
It wouldn't seem that way because when you break your legs and you gain 50 pounds, it's like where your habits get to really come forward when you're immobile, right? And so is that the case for your post recovery there?
It is, and I think a big part of that to get me going forward after I broke my legs was being in that wheelchair and thinking, you know, what if I was in here forever, you know? And then also going
stop right there, because you know what you did? You projected pain forward. I wanted to stop right there because that's a really interesting point, and you breezed over it. But that was important to you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was important to
you.
I got your attention. You started, there's this thing called the reticular activating system. It's in the prefrontal cortex of the brain. Scientifically, it's no different than actually experiencing something. If you visualize pain of the way you don't want your life to be in the future, that will pull you into, that will be a catalyst of action, very similarly to if you actually experienced it. So you got to experience the wheelchair, sit in it. You're like, oh boy, if I kept this going for the next 10 years in this, my quality of life goes to nothing. And then I ultimately have regrets, and there's nothing we fear more than regret. And so that all happened to you. Were you aware that was all happening to you at the time? Okay, good.
I think so.
Okay, good.
Because when I went to the orthopedic surgeon, like the last visit or whatever, I was walking on a cane, you know. And he says, I think your rugby days are gone, and you're probably never going to run, and you're going to walk. And he said, maybe you can get rid of the cane, but maybe not. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and that doesn't obviously give you hope either. And I'm from small town USA as well, and you know, people didn't grow up running up and down our streets either. I mean, there was
Right.
50,000 people in a pretty spread out city. So it wasn't the smallest town ever, Battle Creek, Michigan, but still the culture there is the Midwestern USA culture where, you know, there's 3 gyms in town for 50,000 people, you know, until we brought Burn Boot Camp there. And now we're the catalyst to, you know, really get some momentum going in the area. But, you know, we're conditioned in those environments that some of these things aren't necessarily important and they're not brought to the forefront. How did, so you're coming out of that, you went to Burn Boot Camp for the first, did you see Burn on Demand for the first time or did you see Josh first?
I saw Josh.
Okay, you went down to South Charlotte and saw Josh first. Okay.
tonight.
When was that?
That would have been, let me think.
2016, 17, 18?
Probably 2020, because it was right
2020.
before COVID.
Okay.
I broke my legs in 2018,
Got it.
so I thought about it for another couple years.
Yeah. It was on your mind clearly. And sometimes that's okay. You know, it takes us a little while as we start to think about something. If you just keep thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, a lot of times people say, stop thinking about it and just do it. Well, it's easy to say when you didn't come from an environment where you grew up thinking about it. It's easy to do it if you've been thinking about it for 20 years, but thinking about, okay, you step in, you go see Josh, fast forward, you're at Lake Norman, you have a focus meeting, you sit down with Brittany Enriquez. Brittany is an on-demand trainer here at the studio and also an employee of HQ in our retail team and a trainer at Lake Norman, queen of all trades. So you guys sit down and you have a focus meeting now. Mm-hmm. You've had some momentum. You lost 50 pounds post breaking your legs. You're going from 15-pound dumbbells in your first couple camps with Rudolph. Now you're pushing 55s here at Lake Norman. What are you guys talking about? What are you and Brittany talking about in your focus meetings? Let's pick up from there.
Okay. Well, first off, we just kind of talked about, I guess, like goals. So I had told her, you know, one of my big goals, you know, was just to kind of maybe lose weight, but, you know, just to look leaner and gain strength and just be more fit and kind of get my nutrition dialed in, which I'm still working on.
Okay. So you have the performance side of the goals and the nutritional side of the goals. All right, let's dial that in, right? Let's dial that in. A lot of times, the target that we're aiming, we have an aim. A lot of times we have an aim, but the target we're aiming for is far too big. Like, it's like if you're in New York City and you want to get to 16204 Rodeo Drive in Orange County, California, you don't get there unless you punch that exact address into the GPS. If you just go west, you might hit California, but you're likely not going to end up where you actually wanted to end up. So that's what I want to do with you. I want to dial in. What does this look like? Let's make it specific around your performance goal. Let's make one specific goal around nutrition, but let's then solidify that as we go through the podcast by ingraining that emotionally. I think that's going to be our track today. All right. So talk to me first about your performance goals. What are your big goals that you have that you set with Britt?
Basically, I was wanting to can't do any pull-up, so I was wanting to do at least one pull-up, which is a big thing for me because I have tried to do them, you know, from time to time and can't. So that would be something that I think it would really motivate me to do better, you know.
Okay.
And, then I think I'm doing about 35 push-ups right now, which I guess getting out of it, I couldn't hardly do any, but
David, that's amazing, dude. That is amazing.
But,
that is amazing. 35 push-ups. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know.
And those are unbroken in a row?
Probably not.
Okay. All right.
Like during a class, you know.
I think if you can press 55s on your chest press, I think if you said, all right, David, you and me, buddy, we're going to get down to this floor and we're going to do 35 in a row, I'm pretty sure you're going to get there if you're pressing 55s.
I think sometimes there's a mental block, you know, it goes back to everything we've been talking about. It's just, you know, you want to do it. There's a part of you that thinks you can, but then there's the other part of you that, you know, you give up kind of, you know.
What part of you is it that gives up?
I think, part of it's probably just from my background, that we talked about maybe, but some of it I think is like just endurance, like I guess when I have, like growing up when I was doing things, it would, I could lift heavy weights, but just 1 or 2 times or, 10 times, but in a 45-minute class, you got the opportunity to lift it a lot. You know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
Sometimes I can't make it.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Well, that's called failure, and that's a good thing, and that's why you're doing 35 push-ups, because you're pushing yourself to failure. Yeah. And I think what I pick up on, David, is not necessarily the physical nature of what you're doing. You're doing all the physical things. Mm-hmm. This is so important that your awareness of yourself, being able to say, you know what? This part of me does it, and I believe I can do it. And this other part of me is this lingering, deteriorated belief system that hangs over from my parents. So my question for you is, what types of things did your parents believe? Did they tell you around health and fitness growing up? What was the narrative?
Well, I know my dad used to tell me, not to do too much because I had like a set of weights, and he would say, oh, don't lift too much. You're going to hurt yourself.
Do you think that part of you that you're describing as this part of me, doesn't that seem pretty similar to your dad's voice?
Yeah.
Listen, from experience, my dad, people know me about this, people that know me know this about me, that my dad was an amazing man when he wasn't under the influence of alcohol and drugs. When he was under the influence of alcohol and drugs, it was a completely different person, like a dark side person, the belittling language and the physical abuse, verbal abuse, mental, emotional abuse. All of these things start to become that voice because we all as young men respect our fathers.
Sure.
So that part of us that says we can't do it, in your case, hey, David, don't do too much.
Yeah.
You're sitting there with 45s and you're lifting them like, hey, this is pretty easy in 1 rep. And then the other voice comes in, your conditioning of your background, like, hey, David, don't do too much.
Probably.
Whoa. Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Yeah. And there's a part of me too, and I've thought about it like that before, but there's a part of me where I want to take responsibility for that. It's partly my dad's fault, I guess, but I don't want to blame him. I want to blame me and do something better than that.
Well, let me ask you this.
And that's what I'm doing. It's just, I guess, maybe
let me ask you
taking
this.
some time.
Do you believe that you shouldn't do too much? Then what does that have to do?
I think the sky's the limit for me.
Then what does that have to do with him? Right?
I don't know.
A lot of times it's like what's stopping us is this belief system that we were installed. Yeah. But once you're looking from the inside out and not the outside in, now all of a sudden we have a clean slate to install our own belief systems. And the hard part is first separation, which you already have. You already have the distinct one part of me, this part of me. Okay, now we know that one part of me, that's my dad. I would, you have a respect and a love and an admiration and all these things for your father, no matter what the situation is growing up. But that's not you. And if you ask yourself, do I believe this? Like, which belief system is mine? What we can start to do is starve the side of ourselves that's doubting ourselves. We can start to starve that by being aware of it in the moment and then calling it out. So next time you've got 55s in your hands and you're pressing them and you feel good, and you're going to think about, I think I can go to 65s. And this voice, your dad's voice, is going to say, hey, I don't do too much. And you've got to say, you know what, Dad, I love and respect you, but I'm not you, buddy. This is me. I got this. Let's go. You know what I mean? And that's a little bit of, I can speak so fluently about that, but I think we share the same background in a way. Small town USA, father, mother put belief systems into our heads that aren't our belief systems. And hopefully next time you're repping it out, you can start to have that conversation with yourself. And it seems like it's already started. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I do think, the nutrition part that we talked about is really kicking in, and that's really helping a lot. Where before, when I was trying to do things and, not eating the right things, I just didn't have the energy to do it. So.
And sometimes, David, we get, when we have a belief system that says, even if it's part of us that says not too much, right? The other part of us is going to say, no, we can do more. So you have this internal conflict. That part of you that says we can do more sets the goal, but the part of you that says we can't do it makes the goal vague enough just so you can't pinpoint it, just so you don't have to do it, right? That's the dichotomy of having those two perspectives if they're have an even playing field in your head. So what we have to do then is we have to say, okay, I'm going to let this side of me that wants more in, and I've got to set a goal using that side of me. And then when the negative side creeps up and says, hey, I don't know if you can do that, not too much, you have to starve that doubt. Don't water that tree, right? If you don't water the tree, it starts to shrivel up and die. And you water the positive thought by saying, I can do it, I'm going to do it. And then you actually start doing it. Then you water that. So it's feeding one belief system and it's starving the other belief system. One is yours, one is not yours. And that, my friend, is the game. That's the game here. So do you want to talk about how to water the oak tree here? How to go out and go get this pull up?
Let's do it.
You want to do it? All right. How long do you think it might take you in your current, let's say if you were to just judge your physical ability right now on pull-ups, you mentioned 35 push-ups in a row. Impressive. So if I projected that onto pull-ups, I would assume you're not that far off. So let's talk about how far do you think you are off on being able to do one pull-up, unassisted, just you, just a bar, full dead hang, pull that chin up one time, lower all the way down and drop. How far do you think you are from that?
I don't really know.
Okay.
I know that, when I do it, sometimes I feel like it's like a mind block. That I feel like I could really do it, but I'm just not doing it. But
okay.
I don't know.
Do you believe you can?
Yeah. I know at some point I'm going to do it. Okay.
And do you feel like you have the, back to like being specific with the outcomes, right? Like specific with the goals that we set. So you said big goals. All right. Now let's get specific. Okay. Yeah. I want to do one pull up. All right. How far away are we from that? I'm sensing relatively close. Put it in weeks for me. How many weeks? If you said, DK, I'm gonna starve my doubts and I'm gonna feed my confidence, how many weeks do you think it would take if I gave you a program and you were fully dedicated to it?
I'd like to dream big and say 4 weeks.
4 weeks? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, David, that's probably not gonna happen. Okay. But I appreciate your, so let's,
I thought that.
It's great. I want to set you up for success. Right. I would love to say 4 weeks. A pull up is one of the most important body movements that we have, movement patterns, a pull movement, and a pull up's a staple. So how about this? Attack it like you're going to do it in 4 weeks, right? We have this rule at Burn HQ on the business side of our company. We say, whatever goal you set, try to speed it up by 3 times. So 4 weeks falls within the range, but I'm going to triple that and I'm going to go to 12 weeks. So we're going to set you up a 12-week program that you're going to go attack as fast and as hard as you can in 4 weeks. And then it will probably fall somewhere within the 8 to 9 week time frame, which you can do it. Sound good?
Sure.
Do you believe you can do it? Hell yeah, David. Let's go, baby. All right. So we're doing pull-ups at camp a couple times a week. Not gonna get you there. All right. Here's what I want you to do for the first 3 weeks. This is it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Do you want to write this down so you remember it? Or do you want me to, I'll write it down for you, okay? I know you don't have anything to write down. Okay. I'm going to write it down for you.
All right.
We're going to call this David's pull-up plan. Okay, it's going to be a 12-week pull-up plan. It's going to be the most simple plan, David, we could ever come up with, okay? Because I like to keep things easy to remember, easy to execute. So there's going to be 3 periods of 4 weeks. The first period of 4 weeks, all I want you to do is put one blue band on your feet, or it could be a gray band, whatever band, and I want you to go to the top of the pull-up bar, and I want you to hold it, chin over bar. Do not touch your chin on the bar, just hands on bar. bar about collarbone level between your chin and your collarbone, so right in front of your Adam's apple. Squeeze your elbows in your back pocket and hold it until David's hands and back literally give out. This is called adaptation phase. What we need to do is we need to put your muscles under tension so that the time under tension requires your muscles to adapt to the new stress that you're putting on it, okay?
Okay.
First 4 weeks, what you're gonna do is you're gonna log this, okay? So it's a 4-week pull up, hold, log. Now, you're not gonna change anything about what you're currently doing in the gym. This is gonna be extracurricular, okay?
Okay.
And I'll say, rest and recovery is most important. So make sure if your back is very, very, very sore because we just did a back day in the gym, that you might take a day off until you're not so sore anymore. Fair?
Fair enough.
All right. So first 4 weeks, you tell me what we just talked about because I want to make sure you're really, really clear on this. I'm going to write it down for you, but the more we recite it, the more ingrained it'll be.
Yep. So
Okay.
I'm going to get on the pull-up bar, both hands facing out. I'm going to pull all the way up between collarbone level and chin level. I'm going to hold it there as long as I can until I can't hold it anymore.
And Brittany, if you're listening to this, I want you to absolutely torture David up there, okay? Make him get a PR. That's the second thing. I want you to do a personal record each time that you get up on that bar for 4 weeks. Hold it 1 second longer. Hold it a second longer. That's your goal for the first 4 weeks. By the time you get done with that 4 weeks, and if you can get to 1 minute in 4 weeks, you'll get there eventually. Mm-hmm. But if you can get there to 1 minute in 4 weeks, that's hard to do, but you're going to be like darn close to getting a full rep because you're going to have adapted your body. Okay, that's the first 4 weeks.
All right.
All right, the second 4 weeks. Now you're going to do the same thing with no band. Okay, the same exact thing with no band. It might be 3-7 seconds the first rep, then it's 8 seconds the next one, 9 seconds the other one. Now, David, this is kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie, and it's kind of sucks, right? But like, how bad do you want the goal? Tell me how bad you want the goal, and tell me what it means to you before we go to the like it's a physical goal. So it's, yeah, how is that gonna empower your life and make your life better by setting that physical goal?
Well, I think I want to do it bad enough to do it, to do the program. And I guess, if I can eventually do the pull-up, then that's just going to give me a different mindset about doing harder things. And that's what I want to do. I just want to continue to do harder things. Yeah,
feed the positive belief, grow that oak tree, starve the doubts, keep. I love that. Okay, so we have 4 weeks, hold with band for PR. 4 weeks, hold without band for PR, okay? And then the last 4 weeks, what you're gonna do is you're going to go ahead and you're gonna break the last 4 weeks. This is the only one that has a little bifurcation. You're gonna break the last 4 weeks up into two 2-week periods. The first 2-week periods are gonna be called negative reps, okay? So for the first 2 weeks, you're gonna go up to the bar, you're gonna hold for your PR, and then you're going to do a negative rep, which means now you're going to lower the eccentric motion. You're going to lower all the way down. You're going to stand on a box. You're going to then reset yourself, and you're going to do it again for 10 reps. Okay, so hold, negative rep as slow as you can, off the box, reset, do it again. Okay?
Okay.
The last 2 weeks, this is when we are going for full reps. Okay, you need no band. If you still need a band at this point, then all we're going to do is extend the time frame in which we will go band. We might extend it another 4 weeks, but 12 weeks should get you there, okay? So for the first 2 weeks, it's the hold with a negative. This last 2 weeks, it is full on, we're doing a rep today. 1 rep, baby. Put all of your energy, all of your effort, everything that you would have into all of those holds into 1 rep. Gear yourself up for it. Get up there. Get a little crew around you. Have them chanting, go, David. Get some adrenaline. Get up there and go crush it. And I think that is exactly what's going to happen if you follow that plan. All right?
Yep.
I got it written down right here for you. So you repeated back the first 4 weeks, the second 4 weeks. So the first 4 weeks hold with band for PR. Second 4 weeks is David.
So negatives.
Close, hold without band.
Oh yeah.
For PR. I got this written down for you. Don't worry. And then the next 4 week period, 2 weeks hold for PR with the negative.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. The last 2 weeks full on reps. Yeah. It's game
You're
day.
attempting.
You're attempting your craft. Okay. And if you need, and then the last little asterisk, if you still need a pull up, if you still need a band, then you can still use a band, and we're just going to keep working off of it. Cool.
Yep.
That's the game plan, baby. You got to keep me updated. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to ask Brittany too at HQ, because I work with her on our retail all of the time. All right. That's good. I might do that plan myself, David. Get my PR up. All right. And then, all right, so let's dream a little bit bigger. Now you're going to add a nutrition component on top of it. Let's talk to me about what you and Brittany are, how you guys are talking about nutrition today. What are you talking about?
I don't think we really got into that whenever I met with her, but that's one of the goals, I wanted to do, but we didn't get into it, specifics, but I just started, doing like the prepared meals for lunch instead of going out for lunch, and doing that, making sure I get, almost a gallon of water every day. And I started taking the protein and the creatine and some collagen too, and just trying to, do the supplements. And so it's more kind of just trying to get it targeted in,
You're trying to dial in.
Yeah.
Do you know how many calories that you're intaking on a daily basis by chance?
Not really. I need to start tracking it.
Does it like demotivate you or motivate you to think about tracking? Like, are you the type of person that's like, you know what, if I got to track this every day, I'm probably not going to adhere to it. Or are you the person that's like, you know what, I love numbers and I like being precise and I want to track it every day, because if I don't, then I'm going to go off course, and I refuse to go off course. What camp are you?
Well, I kind of feel like, I'm at the point where I need to. And so knowing that, I think I'd be more apt to want to do it, but I guess as far as personally, I don't really have a preference, but, but I got that goal, so I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to get my goal.
Okay, so would you like my opinion on, based on where I read that you're at right now, a little kickstart, kind of from the top down? You want to talk about what I think you might work for you? Okay, so let's start at the top. All right, calories are nothing more than just units of energy. Right, it's the gasoline for our body. Right, you're to the point now where you've made that awareness with your health and your fitness. You got a new belief system around nutrition. Hey, I've ate better. The steps you're taking are already incredible. They're all correct steps. We're all going in the right direction. Now let's structure it, and now let's understand the hierarchy of nutrition, how the importance of it are, so that you're focused on needle moving things. Okay, You've already lost 50 pounds, probably a little bit more than that at this point. But at the end of the day, as you continue on your journey, the distinctions that you're going to have to make to continue your progress are going to have to be deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Do you know what I mean? For example, if you go to the middle of the desert in Arizona to an Indian tribe and you ask them, hey guys, tell me about snakes out here. They're going to tell you about the 47 different type of snakes and what they do and ones to stay away from and the venomous ones. And if you take somebody from Milwaukee in the inner city and you put them out in the middle of the desert and you ask them to tell me about snakes, they're just going to be like, well, they're long things I'm scared of, right? So the more distinctions that you have on any given topic, like nutrition, for example, the more distinctions you have about your own nutrition, the more safely you're going to be able to navigate your goals. Just like the person who understands where to go, where not to go, what snakes live where in the desert are going to be more safe than somebody trekking through the Grand Canyon from Milwaukee. You know what I mean? Yep. So what we got to do is get your momentum on the distinctions that you're making, which right now at this point, they're great, but they're also very macro. And we're going to pull those down and we're going to give you some more micro distinctions And hopefully this couple, 3 or 4 minute monologue by me here will really help you. And then if there's any questions that you have as I go through this, you just ask and we can unpack it, and we'll dial into something similar where we're going to have a nutrition plan too, rather than just a pull-up plan. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So calories are units of energy. Macronutrients and micronutrients make up the calories. The most important macronutrients in order, in my opinion, are proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, but they're all extremely important. And the composition of those calories, the quality of those calories is second most important to the actual calories themselves. So number one, we've got to know how much energy we're putting into our body. If you put too much energy into your body, obviously you, David, you know this, you're going to gain weight. You're going to not gain muscle mass. You're going to gain body fat mass, because we are human beings that expend amount of energy. We have this acronym TDEE. All that means is total daily energy expenditure. David, as a human being, how many calories are you expending on a daily basis? And we want to align that to a calorie or energy intake that has just a slight deficit. That's all we're going to do. Now, in order to get that slight deficit, we've got to have knowledge of the amount of calories that are going in first. And until we have knowledge of the amount of calories coming in, we can then no longer break down how many requisite calories we would need from protein, carbohydrates who have 4 calories per gram, and then fat who have 9 calories per gram. So we've got to know these things first, but you don't need to know the science part. But we can go there later. Okay, proteins, carbs, fats. All right. Now, let me ask you this. I'll stop there. That's 2 layers deep, okay? Let's go back to the first layer. Calories. Would you know, or would you have an estimate of how many calories you're eating on a daily basis on a given day or on an average day?
Not really.
Voila.
Not really, no.
Okay. Now, I'm going to give you some knowledge, and that knowledge is going to be powerful, but it's only going to be potentially powerful because your execution is what actually converts it into a powerful strategy for you. So, calories. The best way to track your calories right now that I believe in is an app called Lose It. So this will be the first part of the nutrition plan we're going to focus on today. You could do MyFitnessPal as well. Have you heard of those 2 apps?
Yeah, I used to do MyFitnessPal at Matthews. Yeah.
Okay. Based on where your current knowledge is, do you believe that tracking for 3 days would be most beneficial for you, or 30, or some number in between? Like, how long intuitively do you think, hey man, if I tracked my calories, my nutrition for this long, I could definitely commit to sticking to that, and without overcommitting to something that, might be burdensome to my life if I do it for too long. About how many days would you be willing to commit to tracking so that we can understand and get to know our nutrition and get educated around it? How long would you say?
I don't know. I did it at Matthews probably for 4 months, 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months. And how much did you focus on actually tracking the calories and just knowing the numbers versus knowing how and why the numbers were the numbers? Like, how much of it was an educational approach to you where you're analyzing it versus check the box, I executed this type thing?
I really analyzed it because I was basically putting the food in. And, at first it was kind of like what I was telling you about now. I'm not really dialed in. So when I first started at Matthews, I wasn't dialed in. So if I'd go to Wendy's and have a double cheeseburger, I'd put it into MyFitnessPal, and I'd be like, whoa, that's half of what I can eat in a day or something.
Right. Yeah.
So I really started out that way, or I'd say, well, instead of getting that, I'm going to do the single. And, after a while, I was like, wow, it's still a lot,
Yeah.
So then I'd say, well, if I want to go to Wendy's, I might just get, like the junior cheeseburger deluxe, and I would only do that like maybe 1 time a week instead of every day for lunch, that kind of thing. That's the way I did it. And, I lost, like we were talking, close to 50 pounds,
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
I was like 280 and I got down to like 230.
Okay, good.
Maybe a little less.
Do you are you ready for the next level?
Yeah.
Of that? You're maintaining those habits?
Well, not right now.
Okay.
I'm kind of where I need to dial in again.
Okay. Okay. So let's dial back in and let's take it one step further. Okay. Let's go back. I'll request a 30-day because you've done it for 4 months before.
Yeah.
So 30 days. And what is the number one, David, this is absolutely, definitely something that shouldn't go in your body. You don't even want it to go in your body once it goes in your body. What's that one food or that one thing? Is there any alcohol? Is there any fast food? Is there any sugar? Is there late night binging? Is there not eating enough? Like, what's the one thing that you know is an issue with your nutrition right now?
Probably Mexican food, which I think
Chips and queso is the downfall to so many. I
like to make nachos, especially, and they're really good.
Okay,
but, I don't ever eat just 2 or 3 nachos.
Yeah, the whole plate. How often do you think that's happening?
Well, I don't know. About maybe once every couple of weeks.
Okay, so listen.
Not every night.
Listen, buddy. Eat your nachos, okay?
I had them last night.
Eat your nachos, okay? But here's where we start to have the discipline. Yeah. Eat the nachos, have the Wendy's burger, but you got to choose. We're not. It is not going to work. It just will not work if there's too many of those things in the long run.
Sure.
Because the Wendy's strategy of logging the unhealthy food and only looking at the calories, that's just one step in the water. You're starting to understand it. You're starting to learn. But all calories are not quality calories. Right. But all calories are energy, and you will lose weight. Yeah. But here's what happens, David. Let me educate you on this because this is really, really important because you're a hard lifter. You like to lift. Yeah. When you get the proper calories, when you start to think about composition of calories, like the difference between your clean eats meals that you're eating now. Burn meals are coming out in the fall, by the way, so get ready for those. The difference between the calories, quality of calories in those and a Wendy's burger are going to be the difference between you just losing weight, losing body fat, versus doing that and building muscle.
Right.
It's a difference, right? So now everything becomes about now how do I lose weight? Because you know how to do that. You've proven you can do that, right? Is it the most proper way to eat Wendy's burgers and lose weight? Who am I to judge what's proper and what's not proper? Do you feel better? That's the question. Do you feel better? That's a step in the right direction. And I'm not the camp of don't promote people controlling their calories because that's a prerequisite to then go to the next level. So now it's quality of calories, okay? Quality of calories. So for 30 days, we're going to log, okay? Have your nachos. Here's where the discipline comes in. Now what's your one limit? Okay, now what's the next limit? Have the one thing. That's why I asked that question. What's the one thing you do? Because that's the one thing you desire the most. Yeah. Don't rob yourself of that. What's something that you could easily just say, you know what? That's silly. I'm dedicated. I want this bad enough to where I'm willing to not force the environment around me to change, but I'm willing to change myself. What's the one thing that you're going to say, you know what, David, when I look at myself in the mirror, I know that this is an excuse. I know that I'm looking for my external environment to change. I'm looking for boss not to bring donuts in. I'm looking for my kids not to have different meals that I pick off at night, for the grocery store to change where they put the cinnamon rolls. Rather than saying, you know what, I'm going to change my perspective and my belief system that I'm not a person who is impulsive enough to give in to those temptations. I'll have my one temptation. I'll have my nachos every 2 weeks, and I will not rob myself of that because I am a human being, and Mexican food is my jam. But I am willing, because I'm changing from the inside out, to want this bad enough to set down the other things that aren't that important to me. What would that be to you?
Probably candy. I guess.
See, now we're getting
like a
somewhere.
Candy bar. Reese's Cups.
Now we're getting somewhere. Okay? Because when you are willing to give up something because you want the thing it's holding you back from the most, that's powerful, dude. You know what I mean?
I was eating them a lot. Now I hadn't been eating them since I've been going to gym.
Okay, so David, we're talking about stuff that you've already conquered, buddy. Yeah. I want to talk. That's great. I'm proud of you for that. I'm talking about right now as we log for the next 30 days. What's your commitment to me that you're gonna take this one thing back in your life, you got the nachos. I'm gonna give you the bone. I'll throw you the bone. You got the nachos, but you know, my wife and I, we just got Mexican food right after our summit a couple weeks ago. We got Sunday night. We came home. We were just exhausted from like 72 days. I had a whole plate. I'm not gonna deny myself that, but I'm not gonna go to Chick-fil-A on Wednesday and get 3 Chick-fil-A sandwiches for dinner because I'm tired and it's impulsive, right? So what's that for you? What are you going to give up that you're currently doing right now that you haven't given up yet? Think about it, okay? We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. Okay, so that's the game. Have the nachos, one thing for 30 days that you're going to log. I'm not going to do this for 30 days because I'm a disciplined person that desires to change from the inside out. Think about it when we'll nail it in before the end of this, okay? All right. Now you're doing that for 30 days. Your only goal after that, this is a 1, 2, 3. I never give you more than 3 things. 1, 2, 3, too many. Okay, log for 30 days. Have your most challenging thing to get rid of. Have it. The second thing that you think you can give up, that you're committed to, eliminate it. Third thing is 100 grams of protein. Every day when you log, okay, I want you to think in your mind like you are a protein hunter. You come from small town America. Do you hunt at all?
Yeah.
Ooh, you're through the scope, aren't you? Looking for it? You a hunter? Okay, protein hunter. What has protein in it? Let me find all the things in my life that have protein in it. Because going back to, I skipped over this point a little bit earlier, going back to calories. Calories is the first step. Composition of calories is the second step. And when you go to the second step, now the composition of calories, 100 grams of protein is just the starting base. Every human being should have more than 100 grams of protein. What I'd like to see you get is about your body weight in grams. Okay? And then what happens, David, is when you go in the gym and you lift those 55s and you get your dad's voice off your shoulder that you no longer believe is your voice, that you don't have to own those thoughts. When it comes up, that's a motivating trigger for you to do the exact opposite. You start to think that way. You push the 65s. You already have the protein inside of your body that's going to immediately deploy those amino acids and help protein synthesis recover those muscles, get them stronger right away. When that happens, your muscles get bigger. They get stronger. They get physically stronger because they're bigger. Now your body uses more of that energy, more of those calories. Your body will use it. It's called your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, the calories that you burn at baseline. Put it that way. Your body, when it has more muscle, requires you to burn more energy. You've heard muscle burns more energy than fat. That's what we're talking about, right? Muscle burns more calories than fat does. Yes, it does, by about 2 times. And so by doing what I'm suggesting, you're going to be putting into your body the things that are going to help you get the strongest, the fastest. The thing that's going to help you get stronger in the gym, picking up the weights, is also helping you get mentally stronger by starving that doubtful voice that you have in your head. And that's how it's all interconnected. So I know that was a lot, but just to boil it down, we had 3 steps. Do you have the 3 steps in your head, or do you want me to go over them one more time?
You can try it one more time.
Okay, we'll go over it one more time, and then we'll talk about, we'll move on. Okay, so number 1, log for 30 days. Use MyFitnessPal. Keep being honest, by the way, right? Because you're going to set an intention at number 2 that says, I'm going to eliminate, I'm gonna do the thing, the nachos. I'm gonna eat those. I'm gonna allow myself to have that. But that second thing I know that I'm doing that's bad for me, I'm gonna give that up. I'm gonna give that up because I care enough to change from the inside out. So keep one thing, eliminate one thing for that 30-day period. Last thing, log 100 grams or more of protein per day. All right? And then I'm gonna add at the end, your calorie range that you're logging at is about 2,500 calories. Think about this, 2,300 to 2,700. I like to give a range because rigidity and imprisonment of an exact caloric allotment creates a negative association with tracking. So just be in a range, because if you don't get 2,500 exactly, Devin told me to get 2,500, 23 to 27 every day. Just give yourself a range. All right, and if we do those 3 things, David, along with that also will accelerate that pull-up goal. Keep doing your creatine, keep doing your collagen. All that stuff is going to help you accelerate that pull-up goal, but especially getting your enough protein in, and especially that creatine, keeping that creatine up and not missing your 5-gram scoop per day. That's it. 30 days with the goal of let's educate yourself through this as best as we possibly can. And that's the start to it. And then we take it 30 days at a time. That's why we do 30-day focus meetings every 30 days, right? Get with Brittany. I wrote this stuff down for you. Show her these things, and then that way she can carry you forward. And then in 6 months, I'll bring you back. 9 months, I'll bring you back, and you're going to be a completely different David than you were here today, because we had continued to water your newly formed positive oak tree that you've continued here after that horrific accident breaking your legs. We're going to keep that momentum going up. We're going to keep the negativity out of your life and starve that tree. Okay?
Awesome.
All right. Okay. David, this is a complete focus meeting right here, man. How do you feel? How do you feel? Thank you for letting me go through that and giving me a platform to start to put some structure to the big goals that you're setting. I'm super proud of the big goals you're setting. You got your eye on the prize. I love that you're dreaming big, that you're dedicated to your health and your energy. I'm so proud of you for that. I know it hasn't always been that way in your life, man, and just like hats off to you, because what an amazing individual you are for having done that, and I'm excited for the next level for you. Any last words that you'd like to say to Bird Nation? You have the floor, man. Whatever you'd like to tell them about your journey, or any clarifying questions that you might have for me.
I'm just going to take the information you gave me and just focus on what we're doing and get there.
Do the work, baby. Do the log, right?
Right.
All right, man. David Duncan, everybody. Give it up for David. And thank you, man. This is going to help so many people in Bird Nation.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate your vulnerability being here today.
Thanks.
Proud to have you as a part of Lake Norman, especially here at the flagship. All right, David, we're going to do it like we always do. Are you ready?
Ready.
2 claps on 2. 1, 2. See you guys next time.